Want to make this quick video on the men's weatherproof vintage duck boot. It's called the Adam Duck Boot. It's almost always on sale at Macys, often deal of the day, $22. And on one hand, you know, it looks like it's a stylish boot. It looks like all the others, even the Sperry's, and it looks like it's well constructed, especially online. And yet you start to read the reviews, and there's so many mixed reviews, even some pictures that were, submitted. And so for a lot of people, they're stuck. Like, is it worth it? Is not? They can't decide. It's a great deal, or it seems like it, but they don't want to waste the money based on the reviews. Reviews are very confusing. So I wanted to kind of either set the record straight or at least try to help you. And so the reality is, I think that in terms of those negative reviews, I think a lot of it is about expectations in terms of what a duck boot is, and I guess in terms of what you're getting for your money. But as far as duck boots, people have to realize duck boots are not hiking boots and they're not snow boots. There's a very, very big difference. So because they're not hiking boots, and instead they're made of pure rubber and tend to be quite loose fitted. They're not they're not molded, they're not shaped, they're not fitted like a hiking boot. They're not going to be as comfortable to walk in. That's just by definition. In fact, the bottoms are more similar to traditional rain boots that you traditionally see. Either farmers or a lot of women wear them. They're called muck-out boots too. But the whole bottom is, this midsole is all rubber, and that's where the waterproof part comes in. But it's not a hiking boot from that perspective. It's not going to fit like one. It's not going to act like one. In fact, when you can actually see, because I've worn them, when you lace them up, they tend to get tighter here, and they, this is the outside, and it's not like a molded fit like it's not going to fit like a sneaker. It's not a snow boot because snow boots are 100% waterproof all the way through. These, as you see, are open in here. Get it right in there. A traditional snow boot would have like a seam here, or this would be closed up, and it would be waterproof from that perspective. And they tend to be a lot warmer. So people who are complaining about it's not warm enough, these are lined. There's a really nice actual lining in it. You can see it's fake, but that's a nice polyester fleece lining. So it does have some warmth, but you have to remember it's a duck boot, which means you could be wearing this in the rain, for rain, heavy rain, because sometimes, especially, metropolitan areas, wherever you are really, LA, New York, you get these really big puddles because of, divots in the sidewalks or in the streets. And also just because, from sewer rushage, sometimes they're like mini rivers. So you don't want warmth. You don't want something that's going to be made for below 32 degrees or minus 32 degrees. These are not designed for that kind of warmth. So people are complaining about the warmth. It's kind of it's middle of the range. It's giving you some warmth, some protection against the cold, but it's not supposed to be too warm. If you want extra warmth, just throw a pair of heavy socks on, and you'll be good to go. That way, if it was too heavy a lining in there or too warm, you wouldn't be able to wear these in April. Your foot would be sweating, and that would create other problems. So that's why it's not a snow boot. But snow boots are similar in that they have these rubber midsoles. Though, traction is another thing. So this is a hard rubber. This will, wear down. And my perspective, I read the reviews before I bought it, and I was a little bit concerned about the slippage because obviously that's a big deal. My thought was, once I start wearing it on a sidewalk, some of you will, some of you won't, and it kind of gets roughed up, it'll get its own, kind of rough traction. That hasn't played out exactly how I thought. However, I've had zero issues in terms of slippage, and I was well aware of it. I kind of checked for it. Granted, most of my walking is on a sidewalk, so take that for what it is. If you are on a more slippery surface or ice, I think you have to worry about ice no matter what you're walking on, whether it's your tennis sneakers, snow boots, or something with a rubber sole. Now, I'm not going to go one for one, but in terms of how these differ from more expensive boots like the Sperry, they look the same. The Sperry will have, they have the same type of a rubber outsole, undersole, but Sperry has something they're calling the Wave, which to me, that's not the same as like better traction. It's supposed to give you traction, but I don't see how that's actually going to provide that much more grip. I haven't tried them, so I can't say for sure. I won't speculate that, but or I am going to speculate. I'm going to say that I don't think it makes that much of a difference. One way that they do differ from the Sperry, and some people complain about it. For me, it was perfect because I have absolutely flat feet. There isn't much of an arch, as you can see here, whereas the Sperrys do have a bit more of an arch. So for people who have a high arch, maybe this is not going to be for you in terms of walking great distances. But what this is great at it, and what it will do for you, this is perfect for any kind of heavy rain, because everything from below here is going to be waterproof. This is a man-made upper, so this is not real leather. The Sperrys are real leather, but I actually don't mind that in terms of from a waterproof perspective. First of all, they look like leather. This doesn't look cheap at all. I saw somebody submitted a picture where this is all roughed up. I have no idea how that happened. I mean, we can look at this. This is either a dog ate. I really don't know how that got so down. That's not from normal wear. I promise you that. And from a construction standpoint, and especially since this is well made, these seams are, this is all one piece, and so you don't actually have to worry or bonded at least. It's not gonna. You don't have to worry about this coming apart or the waterproofing here. This stays waterproof. I have no issues with the construction. Stitching, yeah, maybe at some point, but you're going to get a few. I would imagine you're going to get a few years out of these. And for $22, I mean, geez, even if you have to replace them every couple of years or 3 years, wouldn't be an issue. But I don't think you will. And eyelets. I mean, people said the eyelet. I mean, I'm not sure how people are using these, but these are. This is stuff that's in solid. I don't know if this is last year's model. Maybe it's. I don't know. I think people are talking from years ago, but unless their boots are 5 years old, or I mean, even if you wear these a lot, which I don't wear them every day. I only wear them when there's heavy rain or, and this is what I was going to get to, if there's say 3 inches of snow, maybe up to 5 inches of snow, because generally you don't get full. If you see the weather that says it snowed 5 inches, you're not going to get 5 inches like that. It gets compressed, but especially anything below here, you're fine. And even when you lace these up tight, it does form a bit of a seal here because you lace them tight. It's very hard for snow to get in, but it's not considered waterproof, 100% waterproof. I've been in snow higher than here, and I've had zero issues. So you're either going to be, walking, as I started to say, in some metropolitan area or whatever, where there's heavy rain and those river-like situations, or somewhere, especially urban areas where there's 3 to 5 inches of snow. Anything more than that, if you have a foot of snow, you should be in a pair of snow boots. That's when you want to break out your bad boy Sorel pack boots. If you just need to get to work, these should do the job. Again, they're probably not the perfect comfort, and they are a bit loose. You can see again, you have to cinch them, and then they'll become tighter here. And this is kind of open. So I don't think you're going to be walking miles in these, but that's not what they're meant for. Overall, when you factor in the fact that these are $22 and Sperry's are over $100, and even on sale, Sperry's are $85, you have zero to worry about because you could theoretically buy 4 pairs of these, and you'd still be ahead of the game from a cost perspective. And I don't think there's a whole lot in terms of what they're going to do for you. So that's the short of it. I'm not saying there's no difference. As I said, the Sperry's are made of leather, a real leather. That is, these are faux leather. Sperry's have a bit more of an arch, if that's a concern for you. This is a hard rubber. This is the sole, and yes, you can see here. Maybe you can't. Let's try to get it in. I wear out. You can see there. I've worn in this part of the heel. But it's hard, so that's going to happen. But look how much heel is still left. And considering the price, again, I could buy another pair of these in 3-4 years and I'll still be ahead of the game. So to me, I consider it a no-brainer. If you don't own duck boots, and I hadn't prior to last year, I don't know why, because I do live in an urban area. These are amazing. I switch off to an urban rural, but these are these are a game changer because you could just. I used to have to avoid puddles and walk around snowy area, bank, snowbank, whatever. I just plow through everything now without fear, and I just love them. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you found this at all helpful, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more, subscribe down below. Thank you for joining me.